And now for the episode I'm going to talk about for an hour.
Because this episode is so cute.
Okay,
Oh my god.
before we get too far into it, Season 7, Episode 13, The Perfect Pair. My feels.
Yeah.
If you were going to do, as an Applejack fan, I know it messes around with some of the continuity and but from some people's perspective, I don't care. This was exactly. This was what I wanted. I didn't know I wanted this exactly, but this is exactly what I wanted.
Yeah.
This was perfect. There were very few plot holes. No plot holes really at all. I mean, they did a lot of. It seems like they did a lot of work to make sure that we knew that they'd written around a lot of stuff, like why they'd never heard about what happened. It seems like every time the pony they were talking to would explain why they either hadn't told them about it or whatnot, or why they didn't notice it, or explain why this wasn't known to them, from Goldie or or Miss Cake or Burnt Oak. Yeah, each of them. Yeah, they were. It was really carefully done that way, and I really loved it. And in a performance that, if you didn't know who it was, you wouldn't have. I don't think you may not have recognized him for a while. William Shatner. This was actually Shatner's pony debut as Grand Pear, which was a funny bit of foreshadowing. To name him Grand Pear, it's like that's French for grandfather. So
William Shatner. Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah, and the beauty of doing it this way is they don't have to bring him back all that often. They can just bring him back when they feel like it.
I mean, even Granny Smith isn't in there all that often.
Yeah. So, but he can, he can show up when they want him to, and when they don't want him to, he can just be out running his pear stand. He can wave or something, but make an appearance, but not actually say anything.
Or it could be like that one episode where it's like one episode, the Keymark Crusaders, this pony's too old. The next episode, you see a funeral.
Oh, don't do that. But that was there was so much. This was such a great episode. It was just so awesome. So apparently we find out some nice little foreshadowing that allows as you're seeing the show go along, you're like, oh, that's what that was about. And he apparently left Ponyville to start a pear jam shop in Vancouver. We find that out earlier. And he gave Applebloom a free jar of jam, which should have been a red flag. It's like, why is he just giving a random filly the jar of, or no, it was butter. It was pear butter. Was it? Or was it jam? Anyway,
it was jam.
Yeah, it was jam. Okay, yeah. Which would have been even more kind of, here, this is, but.
Well, he was just being nice. I mean, he saw a little filly. Just being kind.
Which, if it didn't turn out that he was her grandparent, might have been a little creepy, but
yeah, I think that like the very beginning.
It makes sense if he's a grandparent, but
it was a nice episode, but it was kind of predictable.
But I think that's good in a way. It shows, okay, we're foreshadowing it. Here it is. Here's a little bit more. Here's a little bit more. And it told it from several different angles, and I love that. Everything made sense that pony would know. I mean, obviously they didn't bring it up, but then again, it would be kind of awkward to talk to the kids of your best friend, who we assume have been unalived at this point, fairly thoroughly. And apparently, and another little thing that's thrown out is you're given little clues. It's like AJ and Big Mac. When she brings it home, they desperately try to hide the jam because the two families were apparently feuding, which apparently there's another family feud out there. Because Granny gets upset when the feud is brought up, and she can't speak. Which initially that could be just read as, just that mad at the Pears. But when you later on in the episode, when you find out what happened, you understand it's more than just anger at the Pears, anger at the whole situation, and just how. And then when they get to Goldilicious, it's like, if it's a story you're after, you have a right to know. You have a right to know. So, that, they're half Pear. That, their mother was Pear Butter and not Buttercup. Which, those kids had some really deep voices.
It did. And, I mean, okay, I gotta say, not as creepy as Gen 3 newborns, but they still looked a little bit creepy.
It's their model for. There's basically two models for little fillies and colts. Is basically there's either the big-eyed kind of flurry heart model, where they have kind of the eyes of destiny, and then there's the kind of pound and pumpkins eyes, little dots.
And some of that kind of makes me think, I know it's like silly and random, but when they were talking to each other, do you think they were like still talking baby talk and it was just like they could understand each other, or were they like just talking normally and everybody could understand them?
It's a possibility. It could be, again, Rugrats verse sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like somebody else said, I forget. I may have read it somewhere, but
because they look too young to actually be speaking.
Yeah.
Especially with that level of coherence.
Yeah.
And apparently Dinky is a time traveler because she shows up to shop at the Pear's shop.
Well, I mean, the doctor.
Yeah. Well, her Fanon father is the Time Lord, so. So apparently Granny Smith and Grand Pear were competing to sell produce, which, led them to become fierce rivals, and the only two out of either family that get along, in this fair city of Ponyville, where we set our scene, are Bright Mac and Pear Buddy. Which the shock when they found out that she was a bear is like every meme there is about, Applejack, a pear, or some other fruit making its way into, the house. It's like, we don't do pears around here. We are apples. And it's like, no, you're half pear, half apple.
What am I gonna do with my life?
Which at this point, Goldie Delicious sends them off to Burnt Oak, the firewood sales pony, because he was their father's friend, and explains why that we've never talked to why they wouldn't have known him, wouldn't have ever really talked to him much, is because, you know, they don't need firewood because they have so many trees, so they haven't really interacted with him much. A lot of people go, well, he reminds me of Sam Elliott, and I have seen a screenshot, whether it's been touched up or something, but it was basically the dude was pulling away from kind of Sam Elliott ponies kind of shop with a cart full of carpets. So that may have been just a reference, which I really like Sam Elliott's voice for these sorts of storytelling sort of things, especially, you know.
Although, hey, now the Apples and Fire Pony dude, they could probably make a business. So it's like, hey, we can sell you all our dead trees.
I don't know. Yeah. I guess that's another angle to take from it, but I guess they never really went into the firewood business because they mostly want to keep their trees up because they're an orchard.
I was talking about like the dead trees, like the ones that, yeah.
I can't imagine there's enough dead trees in the orchard to, you know, beyond that would be beyond what they would need for firewood for the year. So, you know, then we kind of get the first bit of that's them. You get to see a little bit of the siblings' characteristics in their parents, because at that, you know, he tells the story of Bright Mac and Burn Oak. They were having a plowing race. He gets distracted. Bright Mac gets distracted, and being the relentlessly strong pony that he is, he plows through a fence and into the water silo, flooding the thing. He could have gotten away with it too, but he was honest, and ended up working out for him because it gave him an excuse to go see Pear Butter.
Well, honesty gets you the plot.
Apparently. Even though Grandpere wasn't too fond of the apples. Which then Burn Oak sends them off to Mrs. Cake, who was formerly Chiffon Swirl before she became Mrs. Cake. An interesting thing is, you know, if they were relatively similar in age, I guess what I would assume would be Bright Mac and Pear Butter had their babies early, and Miss Cake had them a little late, and that explains why. You know, Big Mac's old enough he could be a new father himself. You know, and she's just now kind of having her kids are starting to get up.
Yeah.
Oh, I think those two, the apple pair were young lovers, and Mrs. Cake didn't find Mr. Cake until later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. If I were to guess, I would probably place like Big Mac between like maybe 2021.
Yeah, he's definitely old enough to be out there looking for love, because that's what he's been doing.
Yeah. He already has a smoochy poo.
Yeah. Well, he had it from from Hearts and Hooves Day onward. He was already in kind of that age bracket where he was looking for somebody.
Well, Hearts and Hooves Day.
Now he's definitely looking for him. So
yeah.
Um, and Pear Butter may have just been a bit older than Chiffon Swirl time too.
True.
So she gave her a lot of help. Uh, Finding her talent in baking. And then we see the reflection of Pear Butter's ability to help with finding talents reflected in Apple Bloom. So, another little chain there. Yeah. Which, at the time, Mrs. Cake wanted to surprise Pear Butter with a cake. We caught the two having a picnic and almost kissing. She wants to keep it quiet, but at that moment, as it usually does, Granny wanders in too and splits them up, dragging Bright Mac off by the ear. And then, so, it's still that, no, you should, no, not with that family, anybody else, that family, still,
It's like, go marry the cherries. I don't care.
just not the apples. So later on, we find out that Pear Butter could play the guitar, like AJ could. I guess that may be where she learned how to play, is her mom taught her a bit of playing guitar, and that's where where she learned how to play for playing at the camp with Rara.
Rah, 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 rah.
Equestria, my home. And it was a very simple song, but
But
again,
I loved it, though.
Yeah.
It was so
Equestria,
sweet.
land of friends, where pony kind do roam. Say true friendship never ends. Equestria, my home. Anyway, but yeah, and then she starts singing, and it's just super sweet.
It was so beautiful. Oh my god.
And the montage of them, caring for each other is just beautiful. Walking down the aisle between the pears and the apples together through all the seasons, and
It's like, no, I'm not crying at all.
who started cutting up onions?
It's like,
Stop cutting up onions.
oh my god.
And you see little bits of them. He goes out to help weed the the pear trees, and she overnight, and she finds him asleep in the field, and, like, gently moves the bangs of his hair out of the way, and it's super sweet.
I know.
And they confess their love for each other, and he's really sweet. And just as we get they're just in love and happy and at the peak of their happiness, Pear tells them the Bears are moving to Vancouver for land and sales. And, Pear Butter is afraid she's going to have to move because she has to be with her family. But instead, Bright Mac gets Mare, which segues us into going to get Mare. And she relates their secret wedding, which is also really pretty. It's that kind of country wedding out in the fields, right between the pears and the apples. Candlelit, with chiffon swirl and burn oaks sitting there, being witnesses, and Mare up there with her pink hair back when she still didn't dye her hair gray. and as a little nod to continuity, there's this. It's well framed, so very well framed shot because it's very symmetrical. And right above where Mare is, you see the moon with, as a touch of continuity, the Nightmare Moon is still in the moon. The Mare and the Moon is
Yeah,
still there.
it even showed Nightmare Moon in the song too.
Yeah, but just that was something that they did throughout the episode.
Oh, I like that. It's like, yay, they kept the Nightmare Moon and the moon.
Yeah, because at that point they would have been. So they both plant their seeds on the border to seal their vows to say, yes, we're crossing the boundary here. And of course, at that point, the parents come in and try to stop it. Grandparent demanded she pick a side, despite her wanting to be with both. She's like, are you going to be a pear or an apple? It's like, are you making me choose? She didn't want to choose between them. She wanted to have both and bring them together. Kind of a, let's stop this feuding and such, over them. And she's like, no, I'm making you choose. And so she decides to be with the one she loved. Which
like,
I think is
Father, but I want to be a purple.
Which I think at that point you kind of see there's some nice animation done that's kind of subtle, and it looks like Granny Smith is finally kind of going, the lights going on and going, okay, they really do love each other, and this isn't just some passing thing. This is sort of stuff, and she's really nice to Pear Butter. She's not who's breathing into their mic really hard.
Not me.
Anyway, let's see. She chose to stay and become an apple. And then Grandpa and Granny Smith make amends after all this time. And to kind of finish out the episode, and a beautiful bit of stuff is the seeds they planted, are intertwined and make a little heart at the top, and the sun shines through, and the apple and the pear are intertwined right next to the rock where they were married, which makes me wonder, I guess at some point, when they were away from the kids for a while, they went out to get a little time to themselves, they would intertwine the trees, the saplings, so that they grew together into that, because otherwise I would think they would just they would butt into each other and then then grow out from there. But those were twisted with each other, so they would have to twist the saplings together. But it was quite beautiful.
It was
a very sweet episode. It was everything I wanted us learning Applejack's parents to be like.
I know.
They didn't needlessly bring them back from, oh yes, we were on vacation for some odd years. No, they were gone, but they were still alive in the memory of those that knew them.
No. It's okay. I still want to know what happened to them, though.
I don't think we need to know. I don't think we'll ever find out what exactly happened to them. It's just, it's not important.
They ran out of glue.
It's just not important to what.
It's like next episode they come back like, hey, we're back for a long vacation.
It's just, it's not important, and the way they talk about them at all times, it's like, yeah, they're gone. But especially with how sad Burnt Oak was, and he had that kind of talking about a friend you lost a long time ago sort of feel to his voice. There was a sadness in there, kind of a bitterness in there. Not bitterness, but it was a bittersweet memory for him. and it doesn't matter what happened to them. If we never find out, that's fine,
It was
because we found out the important bits. Who were they? What kind of ponies were they? And we
yeah,
found that out, and we found where their love sprang from, and we also, out of this, even though we didn't get their parents themselves back, they did get their grandfather out of this. Someone we've never heard or seen, we have never heard hide nor hair of. We got their grandfather in there on their mother's side, their maternal grandfather, and so that was really nice for them, I imagine, because now they get to know both sides of the family.
yeah.
It was very beautiful. I watched it yesterday. I watched it one time to enjoy it, a second time to do my review of it, because that's how I usually do it. I watch it once to enjoy it, once to review it, and then that's usually it, unless it's a good episode like this one. And I watched it again yesterday, so I watched it like 3 times yesterday.
Yeah, see, I'm adding this show to my list of episodes that, like, yeah, I'm probably going to watch this several more times. And episodes that are usually on that list are only Discord episodes.
Crusaders of the Lost Mark's on my list of that, because that's just, the music is really good in that episode.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to see you have the big development for the CMC, you get the big development for Diamond Tiara. Diamond freaking Tiara gets development. That's wow.
Yeah.
So,
Cutie Mark Crusaders is probably one of my favorite Apple episodes.
But
now, of course, all
That
the
one
Spike
actually
episodes
did
are so
give me-
good.
That one actually did give me more feels than this one did, honestly.
Which one? The original
The Cutie Mark. Yeah.
Cutie Mark Chronicles?
No, the one. The
Crusaders
one with
of the Lost Mark?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, that's what I was. Yeah. That's in the same. It's in the same league as that for me too. That's what I was saying. Yeah, those two are like
That one.
easy in
that
my
one
top
gave
5.
me-
Easy top part
That one
of
gave
my
me-
top 5.
So, okay, so here's a question I had about the episode. So yes, we know that the pairs moved, to Vancouver, which, sorry, but I love the pony pun names. They're also funny. But
As the royal toponymist, you're welcome.
but here's my question though: what became of the pear farm when they left it?
I assume they sold it to somebody.
Well, I know they probably sold it, but what did it become?
It probably
Was sold to people.
And it was
They
a perfectly
probably-
good orchard, so they probably just continued running it. That's why it's still there.
Mhm.
They might have sold it to somebody else, some cousin or something.
Yeah, I can see that. But damn, I wish I had this stream. I could watch this episode again, but I do have to go back to bed and go back to work. But when I get back from work, I'm definitely watching it again.
Yeah,
For the bugs issues.
This was a good episode. This was well written. It was tight. It was meaningful. Great acting. Every bit was believable. It was just
awesome.
Yeah, this was everything I wanted out of this episode. And other things I didn't know I wanted out of this episode. But I want them anyway, because, again, Crusaders of the Lost Mark and this episode are just, those are instant top 5s. I'm not sure what else goes in there, but those are definitely in the top 5.
Yeah. Okay, so we got a little background of like Rainbow Dash's parents. We've seen them. We got a background of Applejack's parents now. So when's Scootaloo coming?
Fluttershy's. We've seen Fluttershy's.
True.
We've seen everybody in the main 6.
Yeah, no, it's
Yep.
Because we saw Pinkie Pie and Twilight and Cutie Mark Chronicles. We saw Rarity in Sisterhood Social. We saw a while later we got Fluttershy's parents. Then this season we got Rainbow Dash and now Applejack. So now all of the parents have been seen.
okay. I know we have seen Twilight's parents. No argument there.
They haven't
But-
had any
But
development.
they haven't really.
Yeah.
Forward, yeah.
Like out of the main
And I don't-
6, we haven't really. They were just like seen, and that's really it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're kind of generically, oh, we're proud of you, and they never. They're just. Yeah, we don't really
Yeah,
get to
her-
know much.
That's to the development.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A good. There's plenty of opportunities though with them for development, because you've got excuses.
Yeah.
Twilight always has an excuse to go see Flurry Heart. She's her aunt, so she's always got a reason to go see them, and her parents always have a good reason to see their grandkid.
Yeah.
They're gonna go see them at some point. So there's always an excuse for them to go see them.
Now show us Scootaloo's parents.
Maybe one day we will get that. I haven't looked at any future episodes, so if there's one sitting out there, don't tell me. But any final thoughts on this episode? We've gushed about it enough, I think.
It was an awesome episode. We should just end the stream now and watch it again.
It's darn
I'm
near
kidding.
tempting.
It is, but I'm kidding. We can't leave our 0 viewers.
Or leave them without pun for the week. That would be
Yes.
that would be just too punishing.
Leave the bad puns to her.
Never.
Yes. My job.